They said he was born with blood on his lips and thunder in his eyes. From the very moment King Adagbára of the 7 spears drew his first breath, the earth seemed to bow, and the sky grew heavy with storm. He did not cry like other infants. Instead, the wind howled through the thatched roofs of the palace, and lightning tore across the heavens as if the gods themselves had been warned. Something unnatural had entered the world. By the time Adagbára reached manhood, he had carved his name in fire and iron across the map. Villages burned, kingdoms fell, and rivers carried the ash of the conquered to the sea. His laughter was said to chill the bones of warriors, for it carried no warmth, no joy, only the hollow echo of power. When he marched, the ground trembled. When he spoke, men obeyed without thought. Yet those closest to him, his generals, his queens, even the daughters born under his shadow, felt the unease that could not be named. He did not love. He did not mourn. He did not dream. Adagbára was a man without soul. But none dared speak it aloud, until the day the prophetess came. She was an ancient woman, her eyes white with blindness, yet burning with the sight of things unseen. She appeared at the gates of the iron palace, barefoot, her hair tangled like roots, her body wrapped in tattered cloths that smelled of the grave. The guards laughed and would have struck her down, but her voice cut sharper than any blade. "Let me pass, or the walls of this palace will drink your blood." Fear, old as myth, seized them, and they allowed her through. She entered the king's throne hall, where Adagbára sat upon a seat of iron spears taken from fallen kings. His 7 daughters stood at his side, 7 jewels in a crown of cruelty, each radiant, each silent. The prophetess bowed her head, and in the silence of the hall, her words fell like stones into a still pond. "O Adagbára, king of spears. You rule the living, but you belong to the dead. For I see no soul within you." The court gasped. The drum ceased. Even the braziers seemed to flicker. The king leaned forward, his shadow vast upon the walls. "Woman," he said, his voice like a blade dragged across stone. "What riddles are these?" But the prophetess did not tremble. "You were born hollow. The gods cursed your mother's womb. You have no soul, and so your laughter is false, your anger endless, your thirst unquenchable. You will burn kingdoms until nothing remains. Unless what? Unless your soul is found, your throne will crack, and your name will be devoured by the darkness that birthed you." The king's daughters, Oyuwakomi, Ainla, Monarch, Adoni, Titileo, Semosola, and Iniola, looked upon each other in fear. They had always known their father's heart was colder than stone. But to hear he had no soul, that was a terror that clawed deeper than war. The prophetess lifted her hand and pointed, not at the king, but at his daughters. 7 daughters, 7 flames. If there is hope, it lies not in the king, but in you. You must seek his soul where earth and spirit meet. If you fail, your father's hunger will consume the world. And then, before the king's guards could seize her, she vanished into thin air, leaving only the stench of smoke and the echo of her words. King Adagbára rose from his throne, his face unreadable. Then he laughed, a sound so hollow it scraped the marrow from the bones of all who heard it. "Prophecies," he spat. "Words of withered crones." But in the shadows, his daughters exchanged glances, and in their eyes, the fire of destiny was lit. For deep within, they knew, the prophetess spoke truth. The king had no soul. And only they could find it. When the moon turned red, the sisters swore an oath that would bind them to death or destiny. The night after the prophetess's words, the palace groaned with unease. Soldiers whispered of curses, priests scattered offerings to forgotten gods, and mothers clutched their children, fearing the storm that loomed. But it was in the hidden chambers of the iron palace that 7 sisters gathered, their faces lit by the red glow of the moon. Oyuwakomi, the eldest, spoke first. "Our father would dismiss this prophecy. But we cannot. We know what he is, we have seen it in his eyes. Empty. Endless." Ainla, fierce as a lioness, struck her palm against the stone floor. "Then let us do what must be done. If his soul exists, we shall find it and return it. If not, the world will drown in his shadow." Monarch, gentle yet cunning, whispered, "But where does one search for a man's soul?" The prophetess spoke in riddles, earth and spirit, shadow and fire. Simasola, the dreamer, closed her eyes. I have seen visions in my sleep. A river of bones. A forest where no bird sings. A mirror that weeps. Perhaps these are the paths. Adoni, ever skeptical, frowned. And if this is a trap? What if the prophetess sought only to divide us from our father, leaving his throne vulnerable? Titileo, voice steady as steel, replied, then better we risk the trap than watch kingdoms crumble. And lastly, Ineola, the youngest, whose eyes still held the innocence of youth, whispered, if our father truly has no soul, then perhaps he never loved us. But if we can find it, perhaps he will. The sisters sat in silence, the weight of her words pressing heavy. Then Oluwakomi drew a dagger, its blade catching the moonlight. She caught her palm and held it forth. By blood, by moon, by fire, she said. We swear an oath. To seek the soul of Adagbára, king of spears, until death takes us or destiny crowns us. One by one, her sisters pressed their palms to the blade, their blood mingling. The oath was sealed. Unseen by them, the red moon above flickered like an eye watching, waiting. The next dawn, the sisters departed in secret, dressed not in silks of royalty but in cloaks of travelers. They left the Iron Palace without farewell, for they knew their father would never bless such a quest. Behind them, the kingdom slumbered, unaware that its fate now rested in the hands of 7 daughters. Their journey began upon the Ashan plains, where the bones of the conquered still jutted from the soil like broken spears. The wind there howled like mourning widows. And as they walked, shadows stirred. From the dust rose figures, warriors slain by their father, eyes hollow, mouths twisted in endless screams. The hollow king, the dead wailed. The king without soul. The sisters drew their weapons, fear shuddering in their hearts. But Simasola raised her hand. Do not strike. These are bound by sorrow, not malice. Indeed, the shades did not attack. Instead, they circled the sisters, whispering. Some spoke of rivers of fire. Others of caves where shadows bled. One voice hissed of a mountain that devoured light. Clues. Fragments. Riddles. The sisters pressed on, their oath guiding them. But as night fell again, a new terror awaited, something not born of grief, but hunger. From the darkness slithered the eater of breath, a beast said to haunt battlefields, feeding on the souls of the slain. Its body was smoke, its eyes burning pits. And when it looked upon the sisters, it did not see flesh, it saw the fire of their blood oath, bright and irresistible. The hunt had begun. To cross the plains, they had to face death itself, and death was hungry. The eater of breath descended upon them with the speed of storm. Its jaws opened wide, not of flesh but of smoke and fire, and from it poured the cries of 1,000 lost souls. The sisters scattered, their cloaks tearing in the wind. Ainle charged first, spear flashing. She struck, but the weapon passed through its smoky body. The beast laughed, a sound like choking gasps. Fools, it rasped. You seek a soul, yet you carry such bright ones yourselves. I will feast well tonight. Oluwakomi gathered her sisters close. Weapons fell. We must think as one. Simasola, still trembling, recalled her visions. A mirror that weeps. A river of bones. Perhaps this is a test. The beast lunged again, swallowing Ainla whole into its smoky maw. The sisters screamed, but instead of blood, Ainle's spirit form appeared within the beast's chest, trapped among countless others, screaming. They realized the truth, the eater of bread did not devour flesh, but bound souls. And so, the daughters of Adagbára faced their first true trial. To defeat the beast, they would need not spears or daggers, but the courage to risk their own spirits, to descend into its belly of smoke and wrest their sister free. And as the moon bled red above them, they knew this was only the beginning. Like and subscribe for more amazing African folktale and true crime.